Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Wade Watches, another out of theater edition from Wade Watches. I'm Wade, and today I just got out of seeing Argyle, and I was genuinely excited for this one. I'm a huge fan of the first Kingsman movie. That's actually one of my favorite all time movies, and so is another movie of Matthew Vaughn's that he directed, Layer Cake, which is not a spy movie like Kingsman and Argyle, but is nonetheless a really solid movie. So I was looking forward to this going in. And having just seen it, first thing to say is that it definitely doesn't live up to that first Kingsman movie for me. But there are moments, there are nuggets in this movie of brilliancy where it does reach the same levels of excitement that I get whenever I revisit Kingsman: The Secret Service, but it never quite hits that mark. And I think one of the main reasons for that is, and I rarely say this about a film, is the rating. Argyle is PG-13, while of course the Kingsman movies are all rated R. And perhaps I'm just like a bigger fan of that, like just going fully insane with like just satirizing James Bond, where people's heads are blowing up. There's a lot of blood, gore, and swearing. And this movie does have, that does sometimes, like I said, capture that same level of insanity and over the top camp. But of course, there's not a lot of blood and gore. There's hardly any swearing because, PG-13. That's part of it. And also, I think just because also some parts of the story here is not absolute garbage, and there were moments where I was actually invested in the story, and I was like, okay, I can get behind this. This is cool. This is picking up. But overall, I think the problem here is that Argyle tries a little bit too hard to be super clever while simultaneously trying to lampoon the idea of, like, overly convoluted spy movies. Because of course, spy movies, there's always reveals and twists that sometimes seem to like be nonstop and never ending. And this tries to, kind of, like, I felt a little bit of satire, but also it does it itself, but not in a very engaging way at all. Like, the twists in this movie aren't necessarily like that mind-blowing or that shocking. Every time one happened, and there are a lot of them in here, I was just kind of like, okay, cool. And the story will move on, the story will keep going. Nothing here really, like, I didn't have like a moment where, say for instance, like something from Captain America Civil War, where we find out that the Winter Soldier was the one who killed Tony Stark's parents. Sorry, spoilers for Civil War if you haven't seen it. There's nothing like that in here, but I kind of feel like this movie wanted you to take them seriously. Maybe I could be wrong, because it is obviously kind of like spoofing a little bit those over the top spy movies. So I could be wrong about that, but that's how I felt watching it. Like, this is supposed to be, a big reveal. This is supposed to be a big deal, but for me, it just wasn't. But again, there are things to be liked in this movie. I love Sam Rockwell in this movie. He's practically carrying the whole thing on his shoulders. He was funny, charismatic. He had great chemistry with Bryce Dallas Howard, who also turns out a good performance, because don't let the trailers fool you. The majority of this movie is just the two of them together. And I guess I have to also give this movie credit for not having a trailer that really spoils anything, and that actually is kind of misleading. But it's mostly just them in the movie. So, and thankfully they're two solid leads. So I like that about it, like two solid performances in it. But other than that, it's not the most memorable thing ever, and it's definitely not as like iconic as the first Kingsman movie is. So, wrapping it up, I'm just gonna go ahead and give Argyle a 6 out of 10. Believe me, I wanted it to be higher, but as it stands, this movie's all right. It's fine. It's not like crap. It's not trash, or and I wouldn't even go so far as to call it mediocre. It's just okay. It's fine. It's something that I can have a good time watching in the theater, and I had a decent time watching. It's not the best time of my life, not the best theater experience of my life, but I had a decent time watching this, and then kind of just go about my business, which is pretty much what I'm gonna do. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for Argylle. I wish it would have been a bit better, like a bit more crazy or iconic like the first Kingsman movies, but it is what it is. This has been another edition of Wade Watches, and I guess I will see you lovely people next time. Peace.